Hey guys, Tim here. Today we're going to work on this MATX build. It is our Thrifty build, we'll call it. Which is not to say it's any part of it's bad, it's just not the highest end. Apparently we're in the flight path of the jets tonight, which is totally awesome. One thing here is always make sure you read the instructions as where to put the posts in. I've already done that. However, also look at your motherboard, because on this motherboard, it does not have a spot here or a spot here. It does have that one, those two, that one. So make sure you check the motherboard against where the posts actually are. It's really bad to put a post in where it'll contact the bottom of the board and you don't have a screw hole for it. So this is going to be the A8 build. So we have the back plate. So the next thing we're going to do after putting in the mounting post for the motherboard. So that's all nice and popped in, and make sure you do this because I've been more than guilty of forgetting to do this once or twice in my day, and let's just say it's not a pleasant experience to have to take a case back apart just so you can put the back plate in. Now, technically, you don't need a back plate. The computer will still run. However, it does provide EM shielding for your ports, so you want to make sure it's on there. I wish MSI would have given you a better back port. This is a Gigabyte back plate that I have, and it's got some padding on it, and it's just a little higher quality. Now, this is a value-oriented board, of course, so it is what it is. So the next thing we're going to do here, now that we have the case all set up for the motherboard, is we're going to go ahead and install the processor real quick. Let me zoom in a little here and kind of get you guys a better view. So in a previous video I said I was going to be using the Hyper 12 Plus. Now, I, like you, my friends, do read the instructions once in a while. I looked at this case from Silverstone and went, 140 millimeters, more than enough room for a Hyper 212. Yeah. So, alas, the important part here is the part that says it's 152, I believe, or 159. So, needless to say, even somebody like me that builds quite a few PCs can make an ordering problem like that. It's not the end of the world. I have Amazon Prime, I just send it back, but it does mean that we're going to get to use the stock cooler on this baby today. I am going to see if I can replace the fan. I have an 80 millimeter fan, and I think this is an 80 millimeter fan that's on it, but I'm not quite sure. It might be a 92. So I'm going to try to replace that, but we are going to use this fan, or this heatsink anyways, maybe not the fan. But the first step is get the chip out, put the chip in. So to do that, we raise the arm, and unlike the Intels, the AMDs do have pins, so you want to be, the Intels have the pins in the sockets now, whereas these have the pins still on the chips. So you can see that there. So, and not really, because it didn't autofocus for a damn. But you're going to find your triangle, and you're going to put it in the referenced corner, which, let me make sure I'm actually putting it in the right corner. I'm pretty sure I know where it is. Right there. And lock it down. That simple. So next, I'm going to quickly check to see if I can use this 80 millimeter fan on here. And if so, I might as well show you guys. Oh, it's a 70. Okay. Well, that's like a 60 millimeter cooling fan. So unfortunately my bigger fans, which I thought was too big to be honest with you, is not going to work. So for now we'll install it with the custom heatsink, the stock heatsink, but we will be replacing this in the future. And luckily this case, even though it is a value oriented case, is going to allow us to do that because it does have a backplate cutout. So just like always, you want to make sure it's lined up right. I'm sorry if my big fat arm's getting in your guys' way here, but I'm going to make sure that this is loose so that I can get it to rock down. Just a little tight. This is one thing, you know, you guys, you don't want to force it. If it's just a little off, you know, don't force the part. Kind of, you know, try to see if you can figure out why it's not lining up quite right. This is just not quite working out for me. There we go. So it was a little stuck on the back end yet. I actually had to pull it out a little. So you definitely don't want to force that. It's a really easy way to damage your board. So we'll go ahead and plug the 4-pin into the 4-pin and tuck that down for now. It doesn't really matter. So then I'm going to go ahead and just test place it in the PC. Just want to test fit it and make sure I get all my cables and stuff out of the way, that it sits in there okay. Just make a nice good contact with the back plate and that all the screw holes are lined up, and they are. So what we will do is we will go ahead and screw this down, and it would help if you guys could see. We'll go ahead and screw this down and be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back, and I actually remembered to zoom out the camera so you guys can see what the hell I'm doing this time. Next, I'm going to put in, I don't normally do this, but I'm actually going to thread in the power supply. We're going to use a little bit of an overkill in this case, but it's a 600 watt OCZ. I got a really good deal on it, so I figured why not, you know, the person I'm making this for, why not go, and let's actually put it in the right direction. I'm so used to putting bracketed. You know what happens when you use more expensive cases all the time? You forget how to put together a real case. So this is going to be, you know, vent from in to out, which is okay in this case. This case isn't, you know, this PC is not going to generate a ton of heat. What I want to basically do is get this tightened down. So I just want to see where all the cables are going to lay. In the smaller builds, I like to do as much of my cable planning ahead of time as I can. So, you know, normally I probably would wait to put in the power supply until I saw how far back the DVD drive would go. But in this case, I really want to make sure that I have, you know, a good cable layout before I start really adding internal components. And sorry for getting my big fat head in your guys' way there. And some of you may have noticed I'm using a magnetized screwdriver. You can mock me now from my previous videos, but I'm actually out in my garage and my normal screwdriver is in the house. So that is why I just went for the easiest screwdriver to find I could, and it just happened to be magnetized. So, as it turns out, it's really weird. It's just a little out of alignment. So I will be right back. Once I adjust this a little bit, I'm going to tip the case up and finish screwing it in. And we'll wrap up for this part of the build. Okay, we're back. I just had to adjust it a little bit there. So the last thing I'm going to do in this video, and I may not show you guys because I'm not really set up. My new table is pretty tall, so I'm not really set up very well to show plugging in things. But basically, USB 3.0 right there, front fan right there, and your front plugs, which are over here, as well as your audio, which is in there somewhere. I know, highly technical reviews from TimmyTechTV. That's what I'm here for, you guys. So that'll be it for this video. I'm not going to plug any power cables in yet. I want to see what I need and what I can tuck away. This case does have very marginal cable routing, so I will try to route as much stuff down the back as I can, but it's very tight, so I don't know how much I'll actually be able to do of that. And then the next video, basically, we'll be installing the DVD-ROM, installing the hard drive, and getting an OS on this guy. Oh, and RAM, of course. So we'll see you next time. That'll wrap up the video, and then I'll also do some benchmarking on this PC, just so you guys can see, you know, for about 3 to 350. This is more like a $400 build because of some of the parts that I've used, but you know, like the OCZ, you could get a power supply for $35. That's an $80 power supply. Just happened to be one I had, and I'm, you know, more than happy to throw it in there for who I'm doing this build for. This is Tim for TimmyTechTV. We'll see you guys on the next build video. Please make sure to check out, if it's before July 7th, 2013, make sure to check out the giveaway Linus Tech Tips and I are doing on the Corsair 800D, or 900D, excuse me, which is about as far away from this case as you can possibly get other than smaller. So it is massive. You could probably fit 4 of these inside of it, or more. Probably more. So we'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.